name's Helen, and today I have my June and July wrap-up. I kind of realized I never actually posted my June wrap-up because I never actually filmed it because shit was kind of going down in my life. So in June, I actually managed to read 8 books altogether. 4 of them were audiobooks, 3 of those audiobooks were novellas, and one of them was the book that I wrote for NaNoWriMo. And I was planning on just editing a chapter, and suddenly I read the entire thing and I was like, oh wait, that's not what I was supposed to do. So the first book that I read in June was From a Distant Star by Karen McQuestion, and I read this in ebook for review, which I got from NetGalley, and I really enjoyed it. It was a fun book, and it's about like this boy has cancer on his deathbed, and his girlfriend goes to a witch to get a potion that is supposed to kind of bring him back from the brink of death, but he doesn't exactly come back the way that she intends him to come back. It was a really good book. I gave this book 3 stars. The next book I read in June, which was an audiobook, I listened to The Air by Kiera Cass, and this is like the spin-off series from the selection, and it follows a character that is a spoiler for the end of the selection, so I won't go into that. It was alright. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would because a lot of people didn't seem to be liking it, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. The book I picked up after that was Tempest by Julie Cross, and this is a time travel book and about a boy who, after his girlfriend is murdered, he time travels back in time by 2 years, and he gets stuck there, and it's finding out all this kind of stuff about himself and his family, and I was really disappointed by this book. I was expecting to have a lot of fun while reading it, and I ended up being annoyed most of the time, which was not great, and I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. The next 3 books in a row, I not only listened to them, but they were all novellas, and they're all the Selection series novellas. So the first one I listened to was The Prince, and of course this is Prince Maxon's point of view of the first time he met America in the garden, and it was pretty good. It was really cute. I enjoy Maxon so much as a character, and I gave the novella 3 out of 5 stars. Then I listened to The Guard, which is Aspen's point of view of something that happens during the Elite, and I really don't like Aspen, so listening to this book was difficult, and I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. Then I listened to The Queen, and this is Queen Amberly's story about how she got together with Clarkson, and I was greatly annoyed with both her and Clarkson through most of it because she puts up with so much shit, and she doesn't need to. It was still alright. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. After that, I picked up P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, which is the sequel to All the Boys I've Loved Before, the conclusion of the duology. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I had some problems with it. I had a lot of problems with the characters in it, but they were purposeful problems. They weren't just like an accidental thing that Jenny Han did that made me not like the characters. Like, I think it was kind of a conscious thing that she decided to do, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, so it wasn't as good as To All the Boys I've Loved Before, but it was still really good. As I mentioned, I read my book from NaNoWriMo, which is Scarlet, and it was completely accidental, but I sat down one afternoon and I was just planning on doing some editing with the first chapter, and I ended up just reading the entire book in that afternoon, so that's a thing that happened. And now we are moving into the books that I read in July. The first book that I read this month was The Fangirl's Guide to the Galaxy by Sam Meggs, and this was fantastic. It's just a whole bunch of information about geeky things and people being nerds, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and just, yes, if you're a fangirl at all, I highly suggest checking this out. The next book that I picked up in July was The Shifter by Janice Hardy, and this was one of the books that I picked out from my TBR jar for Bout of Books, I believe, and it was one of the ones that I didn't get to, and I had started it, so I was like, no, you know what, I'm gonna finish it. And it was alright. I wasn't expecting a lot going into it, but I ended up enjoying it a fair bit. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Oh, my cat is in my room with me, and she is having way too much fun. The next book I picked up was Please Ignore Weird Deeds by A.S. King, and this was my book club's book for the month, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was weird and wonderful, and I had so much fun reading this. I finished it in, like, a day, I'm pretty sure. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I do actually have a review and discussion of this, the first part of which is spoiler-free, and I warn you before I move into spoilery stuff, so I will link that down below if I remember, and you can go watch that for more of my thoughts, but do know that I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I can't wait to pick up more A.S. King in the future. After Please Ignore Weird Deeds, I picked up Hereafter by Tara Hudson, which is one of the books that I got off of Book Outlet in 2013, I think. I've had it for a fair while now. And this is a ghost, like a paranormal ghost romance, and it's really, really cheesy and sweet, but it was a lot of fun to read, and I enjoyed my time with it. So even though it was like super cheesy and not really something I would normally be into, it was really fun. It was a lot of fun. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. After reading Hereafter, I was in a bit of a slump because I was house sitting for someone and I just couldn't find a good place to read in their house. But I did pick up Egghead by Bo Burnham, which is one of the books that they had there, and I had so much fun reading this book. It was so funny and so strange and wonderful. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Oh, look at my kitty. Isn't she cute? I love this cat. After that, I picked up Carrier of the Mark by Lee Fallon, and again, this is something I got off of Book Outlet back in 2013, and it was about witches, and it sounded fantastic, so I picked it up, and I was kind of let down. I don't think I would have minded it too much, but the insta-love in this is, like, insane, and it's not very believable. And it was very difficult for me to read, but the second half of the book was relatively good, and I enjoyed the second half, but I hated the first half. Like, the first half was so hard for me to get through. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read in July, which I actually just finished yesterday, was Enclave by Anna Guire, and this is the first dystopian I have read in like a full-on dystopian, not like a fantasy dystopia, not like a sci-fi dystopia, just full-on dystopia that I have read in a very long time. It was quite enjoyable. I really liked Deuce as a main character. I wasn't a fan of Fade, really, but I really liked Stalker later on, and I like all the research that Anna Guire put into this. So even though I'm not usually a huge dystopian fan, I did enjoy this book, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And that's it. Those are all of the books that I read in the last 2 months. What have you read? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you read this month and what you thought of them. And if you've read any of the books that I have mentioned in this wrap-up, then also let me know your thoughts about them down below. I would love to discuss them with you. I do respond to every comment on my videos, and I love hearing from you. And I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!